those issues, and you know, he understood a little bit about, remember, he was early in his career, about the fundraising process. But I think the whole act of needing to build other people's IKEA furniture was, in many ways, it showed him the business on the ground. And that helped him strategically learn every day to get better and better, to see the skills that he doesn't have. That's what I find really interesting, because when he hires for people, we did ask him this, I asked him, what are you looking for? And he said, look, I'm looking for clever people, obviously. I'm looking for driven people, for sure. But I'm looking for people who don't have my skill sets. And I thought, that's actually super insightful.
And to add to that, the example we gave before of Alexis at MadPaws, as we highlighted, is really not a builder. After that initial run-in he brought on board a first employee who kind of became the de facto builder. Now, there was a bit of an exchange there where this first employee, his name was Chris New, and he took a much lower salary in exchange for a much higher ESOP, so employee stock options. And he helped to develop MadPaws from its MVP state, and that meant not just building everything himself, but identifying the skills that MadPaws would need that may not occur to Alexis. Like, I'm not an engineer. If I'm going to launch something and it's going to be AI driven, I know that I'm going to need a software engineer, but my knowledge is not going to be more specific than that. Having somebody like that who can be a first employee that can guide me. What's really interesting though, I won't name names on this, but sometimes the opposite problem can happen, which is if you have too many founders in your team. If you have a builder and 2 sellers, for example. There is a case study we have, I will not divulge because I might step on some toes, but essentially they launched with a builder and 2 sellers. And as the business started to grow, there became those strategic disagreements between those 2 sellers to the point where they all parted on acrimonious terms. But the builder and seller that remained, afterwards they said, okay, great, look, technically one of us is the CEO, but really, I handle one side of the business, you handle the other. We confer when we need to, but we trust in each other's judgment.
And I think really in that case, it's why I said, in answer to your question, what is the most important thing? How well do you fight?
Yes.
And I think in that case, because there had been a fight, and you know, Facebook type fights happen at any level, especially even when you don't become Facebook. I think in that case, knowing the startup really well, they learned from that experience. They went, okay, well, we're going to get along now. We're going to find a way forward.
But to get back to the question, you don't at all need to have the ideal pairing from the outset. To this day, people will argue over who was involved in doing what in the foundation of Facebook. But the curated story that Meta likes to give is that Mark Zuckerberg was the builder, the technical founder. And then once the company had been running for a few years, he brought on Sheryl Sandberg, who joined as an early employee and kind of became the face of sellers at Facebook and what became Meta. So sometimes if you can prove the business case for what you're trying to do, then you can find your technical or non-technical co-founder.
Another question
Please.
that relates to that.
Yeah.
Is a builder always an engineer, or can builder be like a product manager?
Ah, great question.
Yes.
Yes.
Is what I would say, yes. It's about where that person is choosing to focus. And I think that's the most important thing.
And what the product needs as well.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes an engineer will be absolutely essential to what you're planning to launch. And in other times, like we saw this a fair few times, where the software was perhaps quite generic. So Perla, this is one of the startups that we showcase. I actually worked there as an early employee. And what they found was that the platform that they used to access the share market, it was more or less the same for every kind of investing platform, right? They all needed to do the same things. So it wasn't quite as important at the outset that they built some revolutionary product. What they did need to be really good at was managing product and being able to brand their platform as something for a niche group, in this case, long-term investors instead of day traders. And then eventually being able to build a user experience that accommodated that. And then sure, the engineering capacity came after that, but they led with product in that example.
Absolutely. So we've got a few more questions. I've just seen them. I've seen them come through like we're online again. I saw one up the back. I saw one over here. So I'm just going to go up the back and then to this one.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Mark here. I launched startup some time Grok Tech helping people to buy their apartment. I'm testing the application right now with the clients, potential buyers. How many people I should talk to get the reliable feedback?
That is such a good question. Okay, there's two ways to answer this. One, it's about deep conversations. So a survey feels like you're going to reach 600 people, but it's actually about that qualitative interview style. Get deep into, I thought I wanted mentoring, but clearly I just want a job. There is basically no cap on how many people you could ask, which is a horrifying answer. I know, I heard it. 600, 1,000, but you want to ask enough people to basically be able to make a judicious, risk-taking judgment. So, for example, Forage asked 600. Bond University, I'm sorry, UNSW founders, the other really good accelerator in Australia, they say a minimum of 40. Talk to a minimum of 40. And I think that's a really good ballpark thing to say.
And all I would add to that is question the kinds of people you're speaking to as well. So for example, if you're launching something that's going to disrupt real estate, you may want to speak to people who are searching for a new home, obviously, but you might want to speak to real estate agents, people who are going to inherently feel suspicious of what you're doing, and then listen to how they're hating on your idea and why they think it's not going to work, because sometimes you can find ideas in that space. Like if they're saying, you're going to undermine my fee because if you start offering this, then you'll be able to charge a lower commission than I could. Then you think, oh yeah, that's actually a value proposition for me there. So sometimes by speaking to people who you know are going to give you negative feedback, you can also learn some lessons as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for asking. Thanks very much. We had a question over here.
How would you categorize Elon Musk as a builder or as a
I almost think that is a question for Elon Musk, and I think it'd be really great if he personally answered that on X. Yes,
Yes! I'm sure Grok will give us an unfiltered and objective answer.
But without such a smart-ass answer, honestly, I think that Elon Musk is a very interesting person. Clearly, he has had a lot of business success. Clearly, he's a person who has a decent technical understanding of a lot of what he has been involved in. Beyond that, I would not venture too much more because
I would put him in the same category as Steve Jobs. And I just base this from reading first-hand accounts of engineers who have worked with him, where they have said, look, Musk admitted to us that he couldn't build what it is we're doing, whether it's Tesla or SpaceX or Starlink. But what he is really adept at doing, better than anyone else we've ever worked with, is asking questions and asking more questions and coming to understand very deeply from a business perspective what it is we do and how it is going to deliver a product. So I guess it's kind of like how Steve Jobs once referred to himself as the conductor of a symphony. He couldn't code, but he still understood what everyone else was doing and he orchestrated them towards everything that Apple built during his tenure there. So I guess looking at it, my take is probably that he is a very, very well-informed seller, but I'm certain there are a lot of builders who would come at me for saying that.
I'm
But a quick question.
I'm conscious that we're digging into your dinner time. Pizza is never enough. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for your attention. Thank you, DSAI, for having us.
Yes, it's been a fantastic event. Thank you for joining us. And best of luck solving your problems.
Feel free to come up and have a chat after. Thank you. You want to? Yes. Sure. Let me take it. No, that's actually just my power charger.
Thank you very much. Okay, just one more slide before we go into the networking session, and I'll promise I'll make it quick. So one of the perks One of the perks of being in the team at DSAI is that I get to shamelessly plug my own projects. It's a privilege that I try not to abuse too much. So, one of the things that I wanted to actually soft launch here, because it's not really ready for a proper launch, is a project that I've been building with one of my co-founders called POC AI. And I know a lot of you, your first question will be, are you the seller or are you the builder? The truth is I'm neither, because I'm shit at both. So still figuring it out. So what I actually did is we went and hired some ex-developers from Builder AI. So I see not many people got that joke. Builder AI, scam AI company from India. They were just getting developers to do AIs, yeah. But anyways, no, so the real story is I'm an ex-head of AI and data science, ex-data scientist, ex-financial analyst. And my co-founder's been in the tech and finance space for the last 30 years. And over the last 2 years, we've built over 100 proof of concepts, especially in the AI space. A lot of people have great ideas that they want to validate, and not all of them might immediately have the skills to validate it. And as we all know with startups, it's all about, you know, building fast, failing fast, well, hopefully winning fast. So that's where POC AI kind of comes in. What we're doing is we're helping builders, entrepreneurs, and business owners validate their ideas fast, especially with AI. If you have an AI-based idea, what we do is we work with you. We build the POC within 48 hours, give you a fully hosted demo and the entire code base. So upon the proper launch, what we like to do is work with 10 entrepreneurs and or builders or business owners to bring their ideas to life free of charge. So if you're interested, you have an idea that you want to bring to life or validate, please come have a chat to me afterwards. So that is the plug. Hopefully that doesn't take up too much of your night, but I think that's it from us at DSAI. Was there anything else? No, that's it. So thank you very much once again. You guys being here, what makes this community happen is what makes this community continue to grow, and we hope we'll see you at the next one. So I believe this space will be open for a bit longer, is that right, for a networking session? So feel free to kind of, you know, talk to everyone, meet people. You know, maybe you'll find your co-founder here. Thank you.